Oh, all right, okay, that'll do. So here is my bella rossa, my beautiful Ferrari F430 Spider with a manual gearbox. I really did look after this. It's in absolutely mint condition. This car was featured in March 2023, so the current version of Car One Classic. Or was it Classic Cars? No, can't remember already. So that's a high privilege. Absolutely fantastic, glorious car. It's completely standard apart from performance filter and performance manifolds. I think they come from the Challenge Stradale. Not 100% sure. Basically that takes a cat out, and the sound is quite ferocious and loud, as you'll hear on the drive-bys a bit later. Utterly fabulous car. This is it with the roof up. We'll put it down for comparison. Go to the inside, it's got this beautiful crema leather all over the interior with the red carpets, which is very nice. Storage wise, it's got a little bit behind here with some nets. That's okay for a couple of bags, occasional bags. Good storage in the front, nothing in the boot of course. Right, from the front, there's a little latch in here, which is always a bloody nightmare, especially with one hand. There you go, up there. Right, I've got some cleaning products. As you can see, I'll come back and give a bit of perspective. You know, that's actually, you know, a lot of room in there. This is a handy thing. It turns the car electric completely on and off, which is good for storage rather than getting a trickle charger. It's got the usual Ferrari toolkits, etc. in there. Actually, might wash the windows in a minute. One of the most fabulous looking engines ever created. It's absolutely bloody marvellous. So let's lift this up and you start to see it in the flesh. I have seen some cars with this all in carbon. It's quite a bit of expense, so I can't see the point really. It looks fabulous anyway. It's just incredible, but it looks like it's brand new, doesn't it? It's quite incredible how amazing this engine just looks. Just a bloody work of art. I could have this, cut little bits on the top here, put a bit of glass on it and make it a lovely occasional table in the lounge. Not sure I'd have Mrs. to feel about that, but you know, risk it for a biscuit. So there's the standard Ferrari end exhaust going off to the two pipes there, each going to the two pipes down here. So it is actually genuine two twin pipes. And through there you've got the manifolds. So this has got a cat through there. As I said, the cat's been taken off from the manifold. It comes kind of built in. Another amazing thing about this car is it's the first time that the Manettino button was used. In this particular case, you can see it here. In fact, let me just turn the camera around. So you've got the kind of snow mode down here, wet road there, sport, race settings, and you can turn the traction control off completely by holding it to the right hand side. I always have it in race, and why not? It just gives you the ultimate in all the different setups, especially the acceleration, accelerator feel. One interesting fact about the F430 manual Spider is that's actually rarer than the Scuderia. Now currently there's only 75 of these in the countries. Now, I mean, I could have gone for a 458, but it missed three important ingredients for me: noise, engagement and rawness, and this absolutely fantastic manual gearbox. It's just, I mean, listen to that. I mean, stunning, beautifully cold metal in the winter adds to the experience. Oh, utterly fantastic, and that's what it's all about. These cars are rare. About 10% were built of the manual gearbox, as opposed to the F1 transmission that came with the car, and therefore the price is accordingly more expensive. Now, it differs in the 360 that preceded it in several ways. There's improved aerodynamics, leading to more downforce. There's the Enzo tail lights, which look utterly fantastic. The engine is completely new, providing much more power. 483 horsepower, which is 360 kilowatts at 8,500 revs. And that's 465 newton meters of torque at 5,250 revs. With 80% of that available below 3,500 revs, which is why this car feels bloody alive when I drive it, and so much more so than the Lotus. Only the Mercedes perhaps competes with that. Now, the car ends up being a lot faster than the 360 due to this whole new engine. The 458 moves the game on a little bit more, and the 488 on a little bit more to that, and the the F8 moves on again further, but the incremental difference is not as large as a jump from 360 to 430 given the whole new engine. Later cars will be faster anyway due to DCT, which is a lot easier to use. The top speed of this car, not that I've ever come close, is supposed to be in the mid 190s, with 0 to 60 taking less than 4 seconds. In fact, I've seen everything ranging from 3.6 up to 4.1. It certainly feels below 4 seconds given the other cars that I've got. So such is the way with Italian cars, and I had this in my Integrale and Alfa Romeos that I've had in the past, and even the Abarth to an extent, where they just feel alive. There's a real connection with the road that you just can't get in any modern car, but even newer Ferraris. It's ethereal, it's a feeling you can't put into words unless you actually experience it and you've got a good knowledge of driving other vehicles. So it becomes a relationship, and that's why Ferraris attract superb money and they go up and up and up, because it's much more than a car. It's at minimum a moving piece of art, but higher than that, it's something which tugs at your heart, and it's that powerful it overcomes the brain, and the brain's saying no, get something sensible, get something that costs less money to run, get something that's economical or friendly for the planet. But a heart always wins, certainly for people of my personality type. So I want to get on to the 5 things that I like about this car. I mean, I could probably talk about 30 or 50 of them, and the car's so special. The little nuances, the little details around the car, the little horses here and there, the yellow rev counter, the perfect positioning of the air vents, that it mentions F430 on there, that mentions F430, like the F40 on the wing mirror on the driver's side. These are little details. The lights at the back, which have only ever been on the Enzo, and in fact the same lights as the Enzo, in the same position as the Enzo, which are one of the greatest Ferraris ever made. These little details make this extra special. Well, let's talk about 5 things I really like. The first up has to be that engagement, that rawness that an older Ferrari gives you on top of all the Ferraris that precede it. They get successively less engaging due to technology and weight, even though they've got more power. So the first thing is just the pure engagement you get by driving this car. You really feel that you're driving the car, you feel everything. You feel every bump, every shake on the wheel. For someone who's a Rolls Royce driver or an SUV driver, they might think that's a bit abhorrent. They just want comfort. But if you want a car like this, comfort is not even a secondary or tertiary thing. Second up, which sets this car apart from many Ferraris, and certainly any Ferrari that ever came after it, is this manual gearbox. it's in itself, it's a work of art. Looking at it, it's a delight using it. Second. Honestly, every time I do that, when I've got it in this valve position, when it suddenly comes on, you forget about it, and it just blows your mind and your eardrums. And people outside, you get the cross. Either they love it and they put a thumbs up, or you get the old giddy old lady who puts her hands over her ears and a really stern look on her face. You juvenile delinquent, you. It doesn't stop me doing it. I am a part-time hooligan. Was that a win, boss?
The previous generation GT3.
Oh, right, yeah. I've seen that's the third GT3 I've seen today. It's a bit weird. Far too common. Right, the third thing I like about this particular Ferrari is the deliverance of the power. It's actually very powerful. People say this is the first V8 Ferrari that became a supercar. So it delivers linearly in a beautiful, non-naturally aspirated way. And again, it's something you don't get in some of the later turbo cars. I mean, they're actually more thrilling in the way they bolt you down the road. But the delivery of this, just a toenail's thickness of pressure on that throttle can be felt in the response of the engine. And that connection is amazing. And when I go from this car to the Bentley or the C63, fabulous as they are, they don't offer that connection. Well, the full thing I like about this car, and it's not in that many Ferraris, which is the glass cover over the engine. Oh, what a delight. Whenever you're around the car, walking up to the car, you see the most beautiful engine ever. It is stunning, absolutely stunning. I think it looks better than V12 engines, just because of the layout, which I'll be showing you now. It's just a work of art. I can stand there just staring at the engine, and I have done. Well, about a minute or so, but just trying to soak in the details, how someone can create an engine so fabulous that looks so bloody good. A lot of... There we go, and snooze. A lot of Ferraris don't have this, which amazes me. And of course, the modern Ferraris and the hybrids have got not hideous looking engines, but you can't even see the engine. They're so low and they're inconsequential. So it's going to be a dying thing. But of all the cars that have got the engine on display, they're all fabulous looking engines. It's come to the point where another Ferrari I like is the F12. And I was with Jake outside Maranello's and his transporter turned up. It was one of the John Collins cars. It was an SP1, I believe, or an SP2. But the front bonnet, where the engine was, had a clear cover. Now, why aren't they doing clear covers as an option on front engine cars? Because when I've seen it and they shape it to the engine that you can see, it looks bloody fabulous. Why have they only done it at the back? Why can't they do it with the front? Oh, that's a rant for another day. What am I on, number 5?
Not sure. I think so.
Well, the 5th one, I mean, you've been waiting for it, it's a bit obvious. It's the sound! Aspirated V8 engine. There's no particulate filters. Well, there's one catalytic converter. It's the standard box, but I've got a performance filter. But the standard manifold was removed, which is often a problem with these cars anyway. And a challenge Stradiali, I think, or a competition decatted manifold went on in its place. The noise escalation was well, borderline ridiculous, but a huge jump in the noise and drama that the vehicle offered. Personally, I bloody love it. Well, it's got the things I do not like about this car. Easily fixed, and it doesn't even cost that much money, but you can improve the slightly less modern handling dynamics, especially when you're going out in a Lotus, by tinkering with the suspension. It doesn't take much, and it transforms the driving dynamics of the car with the suspension set up and the way it rides. I'm not saying I want to do, because I believe in keeping the car standard, apart from flat manifold. It's not to say the handling is in any way poor. It's actually good, bordering on very good. You still go around corners at a rate of knots. But it could be better. The dislikes about this car are going to be pretty puerile, almost a bit of bullshit really, because the car's so bloody fabulous, and when you're in love with something, you forgive its flaws. You forgive your wife nagging you because you love her. That's the way that's why I look at it. Second up, it's a silly niggle. It's ridiculous as I say it, but it's fuel consumption. Because when I drive this car, well, I'm always caning it, I'm enjoying it, I'm enjoying all the revs, I'm extracting the maximum joy out of the car in the time that I'm going to have it. The exception is now while I'm filming. That's the only ever time that I'll ever not be really cracking on through the gears. But fuel economy, it's a Ferrari. I've got a C63, I've got a Bentley. They're all rubbish, but I'd like it to be in the 30s, I'd like it to be in the 20s. And the truth of the matter is, it's in single figures when I cane it, and like this, I'm probably getting maximum 15 to 18 miles to the gallon. And you only have to go out for 10 or 15 minutes at speed, and 1 or 2 bars goes down the fuel. I'm forever filling it up, but I actually quite like that. It gives me a chance to look at the car, and look at it as I'm leaving it, and realise I'm driving something really special. It's like, and which leaves me on number 3. This was one of my Emira dislikes. That car's so pretty. One of the downsides, and it's the same with this, it's a dislike, is I can't see this car when I'm sitting in the bloody thing. And like I said with the Emira, it'd be nice to have some sort of 3D camera trickery, or a telescopic selfie camera going out about 12 foot of a camera in the car so you can see the car going along. Admittedly, a little bit vain, but when I'm going through Weybridge High Street, I'm going quite slowly, and I'm looking at the windows so I can see the car. I can see it inside, I can see the yellow badge reminding him in something special, and the noise and the engagement, but I can't see how beautiful this car is when I'm inside it, and that's the weird dislike, but there you go. And a fourth thing, I'm really clutching at straws as you can tell. The fourth thing is probably the brakes, because you've really got to push them before anything happens. And yes, and eventually you do stop, you stop brilliantly, but the real feel of it is only at the end of travel. Now, I only say this because, well, the Bentleys is shit. The AMG's brakes are really good, and you feel it straight away, and you can modulate it nicely. You don't get ABS intrusion on this, but you've got to push it a long way. And when you go from the Emira, which is like that, as soon as you put the foot on the brake pedal, hence why this one is probably more of a dislike, it's a bit disconcerting when you first get there. You put your foot on the brake, nothing happens, you're going towards the back of the car. So I'd have to say that's a bit of a dislike. The brakes could be sharper, meaner, and more in line with modern cars. Is there anything you don't like about the car, Jake?
Nope.
He just clearly said, nope. Shook his head at me and gave me a look saying, what the hell are you talking about, old man? And he's right, and everything I've said is not a problem, not even a hint of a problem. It's just, I think maybe they could be improving, and some of these things you could improve yourself. Alright, give me a second. I'll think of the 5th one and I'll come back to you. I thought of the 5th one. Again, it doesn't matter, because I never turn it on, because it's crap. The stereo. This is a well-known thing. in Ferrari stereos, except you start getting more modern Ferraris. They're a complete waste of time. I don't know what even put them in there. I didn't even have a stereo in my Integrale. Never bloody missed it. Why there's a stereo in this car, I've got no idea. The speakers are shit, the stereo's shit, the radio's not even worth talking about. And if I could take it out and save that bit of weight and put something nice there, not sure what it is, maybe a passenger display, how cool would that be? Then I'd remove it. So it's a dislike because it's crap, but it's irrelevant, so never turn on anyway. I'll just turn the valves on full, so you might not hear me much, but probably be able to hear it. It's me trying to heel and toe. Never quite got it right in this car. It's easier in the Lotus. So I've come back after a great day filming. The sun is going down, the roof's closed. I've shared this experience of this Ferrari from picking it up with my son Jake, and that means the world to me. That makes everything worthwhile. It's something we've shared together. We're going to grieve together if the Ferrari goes. He's holding the camera right now, bless him. So many thanks to my son for joining me on my journey and adding to the enthusiasm with his enthusiasm. If you like the content, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you've got any questions, share it please. I'm trying to grow the channel, much appreciated. Drive and ride safe out there. 8 out.